Good afternoon, everyone. We are so excited to have you all here and welcome you to our Meet the Deans of Dodge College. My name is Priscilla, and I'm the Associate Director of Admission for Dodge. The goal of this session is to learn more about the film school and give you an opportunity to ask questions from the deans. With that being said, I'd like to welcome and introduce our Deans of Dodge College. I will be asking them a few questions, and then we'll leave some time for Q&A from you. Feel free to start putting your questions in the Q&A section of Zoom. If you see a question that someone else has posted and you also would like that answered, please make sure to give it a thumbs up. Some questions will be answered live and others will be answered in the chat by our staff. We will do our best to get through as many questions as possible. But let's go ahead and get started and I'll have them introduce ourselves. We can start off by introducing Dean Stephen Galloway. If you want to introduce yourself, your role, and how long you've been here at Dodge.
Hi, I'm the Dean. So that's kind of like being the CEO of a film school. And I think the most important thing you should know about me is I don't come from academia. I was the executive editor at a magazine called The Hollywood Reporter for actually more time than almost all of you have been alive, which is hard to believe. And so my goal here is to make this the most cutting edge film school, the most relevant in terms of the careers you're all going to have afterwards. And so how are we going to do that? And so we've done a lot to deepen our connections with Hollywood. You find people coming in from Hollywood all the time, speakers, movie screenings. This evening, when I leave here, we have the producer of Transformers, who's coming to show a film. This past weekend, we had the star of 50 Shades of Grey. I'm not sure if I can mention that with all the parents here. We're opening a career center, which is big and glossy, and the people run it for fun. So that's a huge shift. Diversity is very, very important to me. I got into education because I created a mentorship for kids in South Central LA. And I just seen them grow and get jobs at Netflix and places like that. And that's where my heart and soul is. So I think that's my background. Anybody here will tell you I'm very accessible to all the students, taking a few out to breakfast tomorrow, and that happens all the time. What makes this film school unique is, we have probably the best facilities. That's great. You will get hands-on experience more than anywhere else. That's great. There is a friendly atmosphere here that you won't find somewhere else. And if you want to collaborate, if you want to work together, if you want to build your crew for the future, there's nowhere like this. And I feel that right from the top of the people who are on the faculty, like Dan and Pavel, our staff, Priscilla, who's just amazing with admissions. It's an astonishing community. And I don't know what made it that. That's not me. It was here before my time, but it really is special. So I'm looking forward to meeting all of you at some point. And over to who, Pavel?
Yeah, go ahead, Pavel.
Hello, good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here with you. It's a really exciting time in your life, and we're really happy to be here to help you navigate that path. My name is Pavel Yech, and actually, like a lot of our students, I'm not from Hollywood myself. I spent most of my film career in Europe, where I was also living in Prague, mainly, where I was also involved in academics for 20 years as well. But, like a lot of people here, we try to give different perspectives on what makes movies so amazing, what makes them part of our lives. Why are we still committed 120 years after people invented cinema to keep doing it? Well, young people like you are just coming into it with all your energy. That really excites us, that there's a future for this branch of human endeavor. We love engaging with your ideas. We love your energy. We love your passion. What we can do is we can provide very hands-on training. Hands-on doesn't just mean the technology that we try to stay on top of, but it means ways of thinking as well. How do you approach this craft? And it doesn't just mean approaching the craft as well. It also means, how do you work with other people? Because movie making was always a group effort, and that means a community, and that's what we strive to cultivate here. So looking forward to your questions, and thanks for coming.
Thank you, Pavel. Dan?
Hi, I'm Dan Leonard. I'm the Chief Technology Officer and one of the other Associate Deans. I oversee production, and as Stephen said at the top, we are probably one of the best equipped film schools on the planet. And we're continuously upgrading what we offer to students, most currently an LED wall, which I'll talk about a little bit later. But I just want to echo that not only are the students friendly, but the staff and the faculty are friendly here too, and genuinely enjoy working with our students. So welcome and look forward to talking to you.
Thank you so much. Stephen, I'm going to bring it back to you. I have a few questions. I know when you first started, you were very vocal on 3 of your main goals. Do you want to go over those 3 and maybe how we've gotten started on them already?
Yeah, very happily. When I came in and said, there are 3 directions I wanted to move in. This is a great film school, but a great film school needs watering and nurturing and needs the soil to be refreshed, a lot of bad metaphors there. So I said, here are the 3 buckets. The first one is a much greater osmosis with Hollywood. We're at 37 miles away. It's very easy to get back and forth. We need to maximize that so that all our students get to meet people in the living, breathing, working industry. They get to intern with them. And the people from the industry really get to know our students, who have actually an astonishing reputation when they go out into the workplace. So we've done several things there. The first one is we created a series of masterclasses, and we have big names all the time. Halle Berry, Pedro Almodovar, Bryan Cranston, Lupita Nyong'o, my favorite, coming later this semester. And some of these we do with Zoom, which is great because you can get anybody from around the world. Last semester we had Bong Joon-ho, who you probably know won the Oscar, well, many Oscars for Parasite. We've also started to do these live. The second part of the Hollywood bucket is we put a lot of money into opening Career Center. If any parents are here, I really hope you see that. It's literally opening this week. And we knocked this huge space into offices. We've hired Joe Rosenberg, who's a big agent in Hollywood. He's not an agent type. He's beloved by the students, They'll call him Joe Ro. He's running it. He's got amazing people helping him. So that at any point, students can go in and say, help me find an internship, help me write a resume, a cover letter. And more than that, their job is going to be to meet every student one-on-one before the end of their sophomore year to talk careers, internships, experience. So the master's classes, the internships, the career center, and we've now started doing free workshops. So any area where students feel then they want more, like reading scripts and what's called coverage, that's writing a report on the script. Most people, their first jobs, they end up doing that. We're giving you those workshops. How to use Unreal Engine, which is a software product. It's a free workshop. Cinematographers, a Steadicam. So that's what we're doing in the Hollywood connection. The second thing is diversity, and we've hugely shifted our teaching faculty. Within 1 year, we brought in 25 professors of color. We're increasing the number of women. And this is an ongoing thing. First of all, because it's right, but also the business everybody's going into, all those companies like Amazon and Netflix, they need to reach every audience. So they want to hire people who know how to reach those audiences. And we're also creating a mentorship program, which is kind of unique. It's a joint venture with another university, Loyola Marymount University, and a nonprofit group called College Access Partnership. And we're going into high schools in some disadvantaged areas and getting our kids to work with those students and creating a pipeline for them to come here. So that's diversity. And the third area is really modernizing our curriculum, which also goes hand in hand with our facilities. Dan mentioned the LED wall. For the older generation, that means me, who didn't know what an LED wall was. It is like a hyper-real background. So you can see me in front of a background that looks like Paris. It's not. My office is very boring looking. I'm going to show you where I really am. It's here we go. Sorry to disappoint you all. This is my office, not so good, right? So let's go back to Paris. Oh, thank goodness. An LED screen is so real, you would think you're there. Trees rustle in the background, and if the camera swung around me, the background would move with it. And one of the fascinating things today is the students are teaching us. So the moment they heard about this, they booked their time with the wall. One of them's right now, I'm dying to see this film. One of them has done a movie with dinosaurs, you know, people and dinosaurs. Another one has a spaceship rocketing off to Mars. So that goes hand in hand curriculum. How can we teach students how to create with these things? How can we bring our animation students and our live action students to work together more? So we're constantly in revision this. How can we make sure that the films that we make are the most competitive? By the way, you may not know, but we just won the Student Oscar for narrative film, the gold medal. So anyway, I don't want to talk all the time. Any of you can email me, sgalloway@chapman.edu, anything you want. Somebody asked me a question. You mentioned you gave back students in South Central LA. Are there opportunities for students at Dodge to get involved? Hello, yes, call me now, definitely. So over to somebody else. And students also said something about what makes us the best. I'm going to put a link here. The Wrap, which is a big industry end-to-end business publication, just ranks us number 4. And read it. I don't think the rankings matter. I think it's important for you to find the right place for you. You're going to spend 4 years of your life there. Everybody here knows I went to 2 of the top 5 film schools. I went to 2 of the top 3 film schools, and I was not happy. And I said when I came here, I don't want any student to be unhappy. So I'm going to put a link. You can read about every school, but really choose the one that's right for you. Oh, sorry, I put it in the wrong place. Okay. Oh, someone else, Priscilla.
Yes, Pavel. We've gotten a few questions, so I'm going to make sure we get to those. But the gist of it is, how does Dodge approach crafting individualistic voices as artists while also encouraging collaborations among students?
Okay, great question, because it's a big part of what we're focused on every day, our students and our professors. And it starts in the curriculum. First of all, like big picture, you know, what kind of makes Dodge very unique is that we're kind of balancing 2 different educational approaches. One, we're a conservatory system, which means focus on craft, focus on hands-on, focus on collaboration to create films and other media products. But we're also part of a liberal arts university, a very strong one and an up and coming one, Chapman University. So our curriculum is actually a balance of both of those. It's half of the curriculum is being a liberal arts undergraduate with other majors or other minors, part of a vast collection of offerings. And then the other part is being very specific in our fields. And our specific fields are very broad. We cover all aspects of film production. We also cover like screenwriting, producing, which we call creative producing, animation and effects. We go to documentary, of course. We even do something very unique, which is very not common in any film school. We have PR and advertising as part of our, and entertainment marketing as part of our curriculum. So we really branch out very far, and we go very deep. So at the heart of this, it's hands-on training, it's mentorship, it's working with professors in small workshops with classmates who are just as excited and dedicated and happen to have that same interest and that same skill set, working very deeply. And on the other hand, it's joining together in projects where the different disciplines get together and create something together. So we balance the specificity with the collaboration, and we feel that trains people for just about anything.
I should say, hi, Gabby. Nice to see you again. I just emailed you an answer.
Sorry, I got stuck on mute. Pavel, I know we talked about collaboration among the students and the programs, but can you talk a little bit about study abroad opportunities? I know there's a question in the Q&A as well. Are there chances for Dodge students to study abroad? And if they do study abroad, are there also travel courses that are Dodge specific?
Thanks, Priscilla. So Chapman University has a very robust education abroad department. There's two different options, as you alluded to. One is a semester abroad, and you can literally go to any continent in the world, I believe, not Antarctica, but South America, Australia, Asia, Europe. We have all sorts of options there. And we have all sorts of very interesting programs which our students can go on. And we have advisors which will help the students to, even though our curriculum is very specified and they're based on a building blocks, you go from one skill to the next. It's all very carefully worked out. Even though we have our curriculum like that, we can help students take a semester off and get back into it without too much, without it becoming too complex. But if someone doesn't want to devote a whole semester abroad, which is a great opportunity, we have specified travel courses. So these travel courses, they either take place in something called the interterm, which is the month of January, that's between the fall and the spring semester, or they take place during one of the summer sessions. And what that basically means is that a faculty member leads a small group of students to a very specific place. Dan Leonard here, a couple years ago, with another professor, led some students to Cuba to make some films together with the Cuban film students. This summer, I know that one of our professors, I might be joining him, is going to Greece to make screenplays based on the Greek mythology, where they island hop and they make a short film on 3 different islands. Another film studies professor is going to one of the great film festivals in Bologna, Italy, Cinema Ritrovato, which is a festival of restored cinema, because that's a big industry now, that of all the old films being restored to masterly conditions. There's a festival for that in a beautiful town, which is the cradle of European higher education in Bologna. But the list is endless. We've taken students all over the world. This interterm, we are still not going international because of the COVID crisis, but we do have 2 classes. One is a documentary class going to Hawaii, because that's domestic, and another class mainly of producers and PRA students, that's PR and advertising and marketing, going to the Sundance Film Festival to be very closely involved with what's going on there.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Dan, we have a few questions for you, and I've also seen some students ask because they're interested in animation and visual effects. I'm going to start first, though, on asking some questions on how Dodge handled COVID safety measures on set and in the classroom. I think this is important for parents to hear, but also students to know, are they going to be safe while they're on production here?
Yeah, I think, I mean, ever since Stephen became dean, the primary goal has been safety. And we also wanted to make films. And so we invested heavily in not shutting down when the pandemic happened, although we did shut down for a small portion. But everyone who wanted to make a film is able to make a film. But we did that by following industry guidelines. We hired an epidemiologist, an industrial hygienist, and they made guidelines for the university. We provide free testing for all students. And more recently, the university has required that students get vaccinated other than for medical or religious exemption. And currently, we're about 94%. Since students started to be closer together, we have extended those safety guidelines and made them even more rigorous. So we've provided funding over $1 million so far for keeping the sets safe. We've required students to hire COVID compliance officers to make sure social distancing and masking is being enforced. We've also provided testing both for students, even if they're vaccinated, they get tested before they go to set, and also third parties like actors. So this has enabled us to meet or exceed the guidelines provided by the Screen Actors Guild and industry.
Thank you so much. I know we can't predict what's going to happen in the future, but do you foresee us keeping some of these policies over the next few years?
I think that safety will always be a priority for us, and we're going to evaluate this as it goes on. the duration of this year, for sure, we've already provided the funding for the year, and then we'll see where we are in May. But if there's a need, I'm sure that we will continue, unless things get significantly better.
Thank you so much.
I'll just add something to that, Priscilla.
Of course.
Just as an aside, we just recently did an evaluation of our graduate thesis films, not the undergraduate, but the graduate, where we also had to do a lot of safety measures and a lot of restrictions. What we found is that in a lot of categories, our films actually, although they're quite good, as Stephen mentioned, one of them just won the gold medal, the student Oscar, the highest prize a student film can receive. But what we noticed was that in a lot of categories in the evaluation, the projects improved a little bit, the overall projects. So some of those protocols that we put in place had a positive effect. So we're definitely going to be evaluating that, looking at that, and putting them into the overall protocols, even when we get to a time when safety will not be as top level as it is at this moment.
Awesome. I did want to add too is if any of you have come for an in-person tour, we're still hosting virtual tours, but that's a reason we're keeping a lot of our in-person tours still at a smaller capacity, is because, again, safety is our priority, and we're still trying to keep our student sets relatively small and make sure that they're definitely kept safe. So we hope you come join us for an in-person one, but if that's not possible, we're still hosting virtual tours for all of you to get a chance to see our facilities. Dan, I know you have a surprise for everyone. Do you want to talk a little bit about our LED wall?
Yeah, so we built this LED wall in January, and already it's created such an enthusiasm among the students. We started, right when we built it, things were the worst for COVID. And so I think that's created this sort of shift in the industry, and it's just exploding. This is going to be the technology of the future, and we're definitely going to be leading the charge there. So the LED wall we built is 16 feet by 9 feet. It is run by Unreal. It's sort of the technology that they're using in The Mandalorian. And so everyone's getting their foot in the door here. So at the top, Stephen mentioned that we made a show with dinosaurs and a rocket ship. I'm going to show you a little bit of what's going on. So we've got some behind the scenes from the dinosaur film and sort of what the students have been going through. We have a clip from the rocket ship, and we also have a music video. So already these things have transpired and are happening here at Dodge College. So
you have the dinosaurs?
Yep.
I haven't seen it myself. Wow.
So just a little taste of what's going on here at Dodge. That last sort of clip is by a band called NOMO. NOMO stands for North Moreland Hall, which is the dorm, and all four of the members met in their freshman year here at Dodge College and formed a band and sort of created their people to move on through the program. So I hope you enjoyed it.
Thank you so much, Dan. Do you want to talk a little bit about our goals and vision of a virtual production space, which is why we got started with the LED wall?
Yeah, we're actively fundraising to build a bigger space. So what we have now is a wall which can teach the principles, and you can see that even though it's not a huge volume, our students are so clever that they find ways to make bigger projects out of just this and learn those sort of principles. But we're really looking to put together a proper virtual production volume, and we're hoping that that'll happen in the next 3 years or so. So hopefully if you're coming in by the time you're done, if we're successful in our fundraising, which you can never say, but that's where we're really concentrating a lot of effort, and we're determined to bring that here to Dodge.
Awesome. Thank you so much. We do have lots of questions in the Q&A, so I'm going to get started, again, going by the most voted. So Miguel is asking, how does Dodge prepare students for life after college? This could go for any one of you.
Stephen, I think
I'm on mute. Sorry about that. Prep for life after college. But I'm sorry, I was actually trying to find Pumi's film that won the student Oscar for one of to put in the chat if anybody has a link to it. I think that's really crucial. And when I went to film school, I came out and here I am with my short film and hi, Mr. Spielberg. And I didn't get those phone calls. So I'm very keen for students to get internships, to learn about a craft that will help them to learn how to write resumes, cover letters. So the Career Center is going to be fundamental to all this, that there will be guidance for each person, no matter what your area is. If you're a sound person, if you're a producer, if you're a production designer, the Career Center is going to make a document for each category about here are jobs, here's what you have to. It will have one-on-one meeting with each person. It will help you get internships. Plus, you get this just constant stream of industry people coming in that you can talk to. So there's a lot of opportunity there. We have classes like Industry Insiders, where every week there's a different top-level guest talking to you about what's going on across many different aspects of the industry. We have visiting artists, we have panels, we have the master classes. And by the way, anybody who's interested in applying, if you want to sit through one of our master classes on Zoom, we want you to see what we offer, to see if it's right for you.
Yeah, I would also add that our alumni base is strong and growing, and many of our faculty members are part of the professional guilds, from the DGA to the ASC to the ACE, and that has formed strong ties. One of our recent alum, who's an editing emphasis, which is something that's sort of unique about Chapman as well, is people can specialize and they come out so well prepared within those disciplines. She got an internship with ACE right out of college, and now she's the editor for Ted Lasso and just won an Eddie Award. That's a short 10-year period. That's a very rapid ascent for our alum.
10 years to them seems like an eternity, Dan. So, 10 years? Are you kidding me?
It's sort of where, like,
I have to wait 10 years before I win my Emmy.
You gotta be tenacious, and usually 7 to 10 years you gotta hang on. I think.
I'll just add to that. It's we're aware that it's a rough world out there in some way, but we really try to prepare our students as diligently as possible. And part of it is, yes, we allow our students and we support their big dreams, and that's a huge part of it. But that's only one half of the equation. The other half is that we want them to take a step out the door, which is in the right direction, which is actually on solid footing. So that's why we have so many connections for kind of the more realistic entry-level jobs, which actually do get you there eventually. It's very rare that someone's going to jump straight ahead to the very top. We're really happy when that happens, but that's always that's like getting struck by lightning. So yes, we foster big dreams. Yes, we have students here which we have amazing imaginations and amazing ambitions, but we also have a network in place to so you're not just a lost soul when you step out the doors.
I just put a link to that film for one of the students who asked, which was shot in South Africa, made about the apartheid era, a horrible era in history.
Awesome. I'll go ahead and move on to the next question. What differences can students make in the community through Dodge? I know Stephen just talked about this mentorship program, but is there anything else that we can get involved in that they can help give back?
There are all sorts of programs that the university runs. This is the one that we're starting, and I hope we're going to build it into something else. But one of the things that's really interesting is in our documentary program, they have a community voices project where students actually go and make documentaries and really interact with different communities. We also have a program where we help, it's called Higher Ground, where we help local kids learn how to use film and camera, and lots of our students volunteer for that. And for some of these, you can actually get course credit too. One person asked me, I thought it was a great question because it kind of made me feel ashamed. What are we doing for the disabled community? And the truth is not enough, and we need to do more.
Thank you. One of the questions was, how would we describe a student who would be a good fit for Dodge? I'll start and then I'll let you guys talk about current students, but a good fit from Dodge that I think my committee and our committee on campus is looking for is a strong collaborator, someone with an open mind that loves helping people out, open to changes, opening to ideas, jumps on set and likes to take over any type of staff position on set, even for our programs that don't have production. So like a film studies or a PRA major, again, somebody that's really open to storytelling and just loves collaborating with others is a really good fit for us. So I give my tips, but if you guys want to jump in and add to that too.
Yeah, I would just also say an active curiosity and the desire to learn, because there's so many resources here. You can go through the 4-year program and not even scratch the surface of all the things that we have to offer. So we're going to put a lot of things in front of you, but take advantage of all those opportunities. There's so much between master classes, being on set, and working with your peers. It really is a fantastic and unique place.
Thank you.
We said internally, even during COVID, that our default should be say yes unless there's a compelling reason to say no. Because I think universities are very bureaucratic places, and you feel like, no, something might happen. No, we try to say yes when we can, but there are all sorts of opportunities, and someone who wants to seize opportunities, somebody who wants to collaborate, I think would do very well. But we have 1,500 plus students, and it's our job to make all sorts of different personalities feel comfortable here. And not everybody is going to go out for a beer with, their fraternity or whatever. So the onus is on us to make our students feel happy.
Thank you. There's 2 questions that are similar, so I'm going to answer both or ask them both together and we can jump in together. So Corey's curious on what programs or initiatives Dodge has to integrate collaboration and support collaboration amongst the entire university, so other programs. And then somebody else asked, do students minor or double major in other programs outside of Dodge? So I'll answer the first part, but we do have a lot of students who will either minor or double major in something that's outside of Dodge. We actually encourage that. I think that brings back to your storytelling and who you are as a person, interacting with others on campus, being involved. We do have students who eat, breathe, live, die, film, and that's fantastic too. But we have a lot of students who are interested and collaborate with other programs on campus. So that's one. But if you guys want to help answer how we have any programming across the university.
Yeah, we have a number of programs. So one is the Screen Actors Program, which is a joint degree program with theater. So this is a group of actors that both act in the films, take some film classes, but also in theater. We also have collaborations with the School of Music for composition. And then Dodge itself is a place that has a number of different degrees. So you might be in film production, but you might also work with students in animation or visual effects on a project as well. And really, we just see that happening. There's this big convergence happening in the industry. We see that as vital to the future of the industry, is learning to collaborate across this sort of convergence.
Thank you. I know we've talked a little bit about collaborating with the engineering school for our LED wall or production, virtual production space. Do we know what that would look like or what the early conversation is with that?
Yeah, the early conversation with that is, we've created minors in augmented reality and virtual reality, which encompass some classes there and here. We also have a gaming minor, which we do with computer science as well. So we think that virtual production will fall along these lines, and the ideas in the future, perhaps first a minor, and then as we build the bigger facility, we might look at increasing that to a major in the future.
We also have a very strong business school at Chapman. We collaborate with them. We collaborate with the law school as well. So we have programs throughout the university. It's quite a collaborative place. It's not a siloed place as much. We're always open to it. If someone gets an idea, we do it. This semester we started a class. We had an idea. We should do this class on unsung voices. We were watching what was happening with Black Lives Matter. We said there should be a class about all these stories that people are just not being in touch with. So we got a history professor from another college here at Chapman, one of our screenwriting professors. They got together and they're teaching a class right now where they're training students from across the university how to research properly, to look into these historical events and cultural events which are not as well known to the public. And then the second half of the class is figuring out what's the best way to publicize this. Should it be a podcast? Should it be a mini series? Should we pitch this as a VR? So we're always looking for the best way to collaborate, and always for something that's relevant and that makes sense for students' lives today.
Yeah,
Awesome.
and I would also say that our curriculum, particularly for like film production, is a project-based curriculum where students gather around a project. And so in your junior year, people declare whether they want to be a cinematographer, an editor, and then in that first junior level class, people come from other classes. They're required to work on those projects, so you get a large crew experience of a lot of creative energy on a project. And scripts are written by screenwriters, producers produce. It's really a fantastic program.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. I think this is an open-ended question. It's obviously going to be based on your opinion, but Laura is asking if you had a guess on what the film industry would look like in 25 years, how do you think Dodge would help prepare students for that future?
I think that is a brilliant question. It might interest you to know, when you applied to be dean, you have a form you fill out, and one of the questions was this very question, And I said, this is the most important question, because we need to know where the media and entertainment world is going so that we can pivot towards it. And this 25 years is too far. We can't say, because there will be technologies invented that we don't know. And they'll change, and technology changes art. 15 years ago, nobody had heard of an iPhone. When I was growing up, we never thought we'd be using computers all the time. So who knows? But we do know that the film world and the TV world, which were unbelievably separate, are now merged together. Everything is going through streaming, and you can predict for the next 5, 7, 8 years, that's going to have a huge effect. So we are shifting our curriculum so that students learn to think in all sorts of different media and start to think in different formats. Like, is this a feature-length story? Is it a mini-series story? I think above everything, we can teach you how to use a camera. We can teach you how to set up lights, how to use an editing machine. We can't teach you for the invention we don't know. We can teach you how to think. And if we teach you right, you will be prepared so that when that new material comes along, you can embrace it and master it. So if we've taught you to think of story and character and film and TV history and to understand how the industry works and how people work, you'll be prepared for all the things we just don't know.
Thank you. Does anyone want to add anything?
Yeah, just a modern case in point, the Duffer Brothers, you've probably heard of them, and there are alums. When they were here at school, no one knew that there would be something called Netflix, but they went on to become, probably the primary creators for Netflix. So, they were trained a lot while they were here. They focused on the basics. They focused on good storytelling. They focused on good visual storytelling. They focused on collaboration. They learned about sound. They learned about visual imagery. All those tools, formed later into a new media, which again, no one could have completely predicted. Maybe even the people that founded Netflix weren't really sure it was going to go in that direction, but it did. So we aim to prepare our students as best as we can for now. We're always exploring the future, thinking about the future, and we're always looking at the fundamentals as well. And some of those fundamentals are dedication to craft. Some of those fundamentals is the thinking process, the thought process behind it. And another one of those fundamentals, as we keep saying, is collaboration, because we really look for students that enjoy collaborating. That's why it all holds together here, because everyone agrees to that and wants to be a part of that.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Go ahead, Dan.
I would also say just the opportunities are exploding. I mean, what's happening, and probably the pandemic has accelerated this, is that people are watching more and more media. I can't tell you, like, I've got Netflix, I've got Apple TV, all of them are investing in making content because they can't make it fast enough, because they drop it, they binge it. Love Stranger Things, they dropped it, I watched it in a day, and I'm like, what else you got? So there's all this opportunity, particularly for young talent, to get into the industry because there's this insatiable desire for content.
I'm glad you answered last two, Dan, because I think the next two questions are for you. Are there any funds or budgets that are given to Dodge students for their films?
Yes, we do fund our films. And so in the undergraduate film program, we encourage collaboration. So there's a certain amount per student who's enrolled in senior thesis that's congregated on a production that usually averages around 6,000 to 8,000 for a senior thesis. The junior levels are about 1,500 for the APs, and then various programs also, like the pilots, we give $15,000 to each of the 2 pilots that are being made. Short film, TWP films each get $1,500, and then we also have some grants that we give away. Each year we give away around $50,000 to $55,000 from the Women of Chapman, that's in perpetuity, as well as Leo Friedman grant gives another $25,000, and then there's the Zonto Award. So there are other opportunities to supplement those budgets as well.
And just to say, that cash is money on top. We have the infrastructure here. We have the facilities, we have the equipment, we have a production management staff, we have the mentors. So all that is ensuring that the projects are made at a level that the students can desire, and where they can learn from making those projects. And then on top of that, we provide the budgets that Dan was talking about, which are already encompassed as part of the fees and the tuition of the school.
Yeah, just a really good point, Pavel, is that we actually have red cameras. Like a lot of other film schools, you have to go off and rent. You have all the means of production here, and you can make a film with what you get from our equipment. All of this is sort of supplementary as well.
I would add some to that, especially for the parents listening. I'm incredibly aware of how expensive film school is. And we actually have a task force right now looking at how we can reduce the costs of the filmmaking side of it for our students, because it's just horrible to me to think of students coming out and they got $50,000 of debt on their credit card. So we are very actually looking at every aspect of what we do so that doesn't happen. That's not the case everywhere. And sometimes when I hear of students, saying, I'm going to buy this tank for, you know, the invasion of the Kremlin scene. No, no, please don't. We've got an LED wall, you can use that. So we're very aware of that, something we're looking at right now.
Awesome. This goes for all of you, but I'll start because it asked specifically about the LED wall, Dan, is do undergrad students get access to our facilities, to our stages, to our equipment, and obviously now the LED wall?
They do. It's kind of like a funnel. So we start out with simpler sort of projects and almost like fingering exercises. And then by the time you get to your senior year, then you have access to those. There is only one LED wall. So oftentimes there's a sifting process where we accept proposals. We try to use it every weekend that something's going on. And we have 4, actually 6 now sound stages that a few are devoted exclusively for production. Others we teach during the week, but then on weekends they're reserved for production as well. And we have a production design program, which is a rarity at a film school. So there's actually the ability to build sets. So this idea of keeping costs down is that we can also construct things here. And with the combination of that with the LED wall is you can make a spaceship in space. There's things that you just physically couldn't do at another film school without spending reams of money that are provided here.
Yeah, so I just like to emphasize again to everything what Dan and Stephen have been saying. We understand that university education is expensive and that film schools are expensive. What our aim is that the projects that we assign our students, and this includes Thesis, that they can all be accomplished within the fees and the tuition that's already been paid for the school. So it's not a situation, it's like, okay, here you're at the school, now go out and spend another $50,000 to make your film. That's absolutely not necessary to make a great product and to learn something. So that's not our philosophy here. We're all inclusive. But as Stephen mentioned, even on top of that, because filmmakers are always ambitious, there's some people add on top of that. We're working very actively to kind of keep that to a minimum so that we're working in the best interest of our students.
Awesome. I saw a few questions, and this is more curriculum based and maybe just a personal favorite of mine, but a lot of people had questions about the creative producing major. I know that that's a very special program for it to be an undergraduate program. For most film schools, it's already at the grad level. Do you guys want to talk a little bit about that program, what we teach there? It's a gem here. I like to say it teaches the business of the business, but do you guys mind jumping in and talking a little bit about it?
Pavel, you want to take that first?
Sure. So, it is a unique program and it stands on various pillars. One of it is that it is very closely tied in with film production, meaning that it's about the film and television production and the work, the physical work, so to speak, that producers do in order to enable a production to happen. That means it means being on set. It means making budgets. It means making call sheets. It means corralling actors and so on. But the other aspect of it is the business of the business. So in this major, for instance, it's required to have an internship in Hollywood, basically, so that it is preparing students for the entertainment business as a whole. And then there's also the creative aspect of it as well, which is and that's why we call it creative producing. That we also do a lot of training in creative development. So in the film industry, and that's true around the world, when stories are not just invented by individual geniuses, although that's part of the formula, but a team of people work together on the stories and selection of the stories and a placement of the stories and the strategy of the stories. And a big part of that are the producers. And so we integrate that also into the program. We teach writing and development, which is working on the process of story development to our producing students, and we integrate them into the film projects on this level as well.
Yeah, and I would also say that we have a few, in terms of funds, we provide grants for producer-initiated projects at the undergraduate level. So each year we provide $5,000 to up to 6 projects for those that the creative is coming from the producer, that they have attached a director and the rest of the team. So that's another opportunity for our students.
I want to, because we're always trying to make things better. Nothing is perfect. And one thing we're trying to do is integrate the producers and the directors and the writers and the cinematographers and the production designers, so that everybody is equal. And so we're looking at ways to do that. When you go into producing program, you're learning both, somebody asked about budgets and things like that, and you're also learning the creative side, because ultimately, if you're a producer, you have two parts. One is what's called a line producer, which means you're the guy on the set ordering the crane and the extras and the food and supervising all that. The other is you're the guy who's going to develop ideas and screenplays and get stars and directors connected to it. And they're very different talents, but we teach both.
Oh, thank you, guys. I'm going to take this last question. It's going to be a twofold, so it will be the last question, but I'll let each of us answer separately. One, what makes us love Dodge so much? And the second part to that will be, if we had any advice for prospective students about applying to film school, what would that be? So we'll start with you, Stephen.
Okay, my answer is recently, and everyone here has heard it before. You know, in case you didn't guess, I'm English, you know, and I went to University of England and I came here, this was a long time ago. My dream was to go to film school. And I landed in LA, I didn't know anybody, had no friends. I was living in this little dump studio underneath this rock and roll guy who would beat up his girlfriend every night. And I was so miserable. And there was nobody to really take my hand and say, I will support you. And from my point of view, we do that. No one does it perfectly, but if the doors are open, you know, all of us are available. And I love the fact that film school does that. Pavel?
Yeah, so first question, what makes this such a wonderful place, or why do we love it? I think one big part of it is it's full of amazing people who all want to be here. You know, it's so remarkable that people come from all over the country, but also all over the world. And it's their dream to be here. And it shows with their dedication and with their passion and the way they support their ideas and the way they support their friends. So that makes it a remarkable environment. What was the second question, Priscilla?
If you had one piece of advice for somebody applying to film school, I can come back to you too, Stephen. I didn't forget.
Yes, the one piece of advice. You know what, I think we have a very good admissions team that can give you consultation when you're applying. What I can say to it is that all of us here, except for Stephen, because he's by his position, he's not allowed to look at the applications. It's because he's a major fundraiser as well. But the rest of us, the faculty, we study these applications very thoroughly. We pay a lot of attention to them. So we appreciate what you'd appreciate in common sense. Like, does this person, do we believe what this person is saying? Do we see some passion behind this? Do we see a way forward for this person? It's really a wonderful process because we meet a lot of remarkable people through that as well.
Awesome. Thank you, Pavel. Stephen, do you want to jump in with your tips? So that
well, I'm not allowed to be involved with admissions because otherwise I would always be trying to accept too many people. You got to remember, it's like when you're applying for a job, what do you convey that shows this person who doesn't know you what is unique or different or worth investing in? Because as incredibly expensive as this education is, it is actually even so subsidized by the university. So why should we bet on you? And just don't be generic, don't be the same. I was working with a group of students on what makes a good cover letter. And I was saying to each of them, tell me 3 things about yourself that are interesting. Same if you do a piece of creative work, just don't be generic. Don't worry about being different or odd or peculiar. Everyone in film is different and odd and peculiar, and sometimes we learn to hide it, which is kind of a shame. But we want different and odd and peculiar. So tell us what's unique about you. Come up with an idea that's doesn't feel like it's just a copy of something else.
Thank you. Dan?
Oh, I've been here since 1998, and so there's so much that I love. I could spend like days talking about it. I think it's that every day is different here. We're not like making sausages. We're not making the same thing. Every story is unique. And for me, that's really what it comes down to is what stories do people want to tell and how can we best tell them? And I would say that that's also the tip I would say for, when you're in terms of application is we're looking for good storytellers. The technique, the technical, we can teach you all of that. It's what do you have to say and how do you have to say it and is it memorable? That's really what we're looking for.
Awesome. And I echo what everybody said. I think our Dodge students, maybe this is biased, but I think they're hands down some of the top students on this campus. They're creative, they're smart, they're hardworking, they're willing to give a hand. They want to dip in different things. They want to give back to their community. So that's really my favorite part. And I do think it stems from the community that we've built here as faculty, as staff, as students, as alumni, visitors that we have on campus. I think that all contributes to our community. And tips, just like everyone said, be genuine. Don't Google, top film videos, because I promise you, we've seen all of those already. Do something quirky, do something fun, do something that's true to your heart. And that definitely comes out of the screen when we're reading your app. We really can tell if that's something that you're actually interested in.
Can I say one other thing, which is you don't need to spend money on it. No, we're not looking. Our job is to teach you. You don't have to prove you've already learned. So tell your parents, mom and dad, don't spend $5,000 on this project. Just get a good idea,
And don't be discouraged if you've never had a camera in your hand. Don't be discouraged if you haven't shot anything. Don't be discouraged if you're a screenwriter and you just love writing poetry or songs or anything fun like that. That's all the stuff we like to do. For PR majors, if you're interested in just campaigns and you've done that, with ASB on campus, anything fun that you've done or anything creative you've done, we definitely want to see that in your application. We can teach you all of the rest of the stuff. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us. Thank you to our Associate Deans and our Dean Stephen Galloway for taking the time to meet with you. We did record these sessions and we have a few more sessions over the next 2 weeks. So we really encourage you to join us. This recording will be available to everybody a week after we wrap up our Discover Chapman event. So thank you again so much for joining us and have a great night.